Hello, YouTube viewers and Transformers fans. Well, this is the TFNG coming to you with what will hopefully be a quick and successful live stream video. Today I have the latest of my Transformers figure spotlight series, and today we're going to be taking a look at Bludgeon. Introduced as a member of the Pretenders, I can't remember if it was 1988 or 1989, but Bludgeon has always remained an iconic Transformers character because, to my knowledge, he's the only Transformers character who is a samurai skeleton. So basically, Bludgeon has always been a Decepticon who has been a samurai in robot mode, and he's always had a skull face, so that's what's made Bludgeon stand out and made him remain unique amongst other Transformers characters. Now someone's tuned into live stream chat. And Lila Alk Productions. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. So, the toys of Bludgeon that are shown here are the most recently released one is the Power of the Primes Prime Master version of Bludgeon, which is the version of Bludgeon that is most accurate to the original Generation 1 toy. Like the Generation 1 toy, the Power of the Primes version of Bludgeon is a Pretender shell. He has an inner robot inside of him. Now, this is not the inner robot that Bludgeon comes with. It's the one that comes with Octopunch, but I have to give a shout-out to Patriot Prime Reviews. Patriot Prime Reviews pointed out that if you switch the inner robots of Power of the Primes, Bludgeon, and Octopunch with each other, then you actually have toys of Bludgeon and Octopunch that are accurate to the G1 version, so just switch out Solus Prime and Quintus Prime with each other's Prime Shell, Pretender armors, and then you have even more G1 accurate toys of Bludgeon and Octopunch, so I did that with them. And the other toys of Bludgeon I have the Robots in Disguise 2001/Car Robots version of Bludgeon. I got this toy because it's a straight-up repaint of Generation 2 hero Megatron. And if one day I ever decide to get this toy and release it from his box, which is damaged, by the way, so it's not in mint condition, but if I ever decide to release him from his box, I'm going to apply the name Megatron to him since it's the only original Generation 2 toy of Megatron that I have in my Transformers collection. And then the other toys of Bludgeon that I have, this one here is a repaint of the 2007 Movie 1 Deluxe Class toy of Wreckage. This was released exclusively at Toys R Us in the Revenge of the Fallen toy line in a 2-pack with Whirl. And this other toy of Bludgeon here was also released in the Revenge of the Fallen line. This is the Revenge of the Fallen Voyager class toy of Bludgeon. So, in terms of G1 accuracy, as I said a moment ago, the toy of Bludgeon here that's most accurate to the original Generation 1 toy is the Power of the Primes version. See who else is in the live stream chat now. Yeah. Ninja Bill 1000, you've joined us, so welcome here. So in case anyone was wondering, why in the world did Hasbro decide to release 2 toys of Bludgeon in the Revenge of the Fallen toy line? Basically, Hasbro released this repaint of 2007 Movie 1 Wreckage before they planned on creating a brand new Voyager class toy Bludgeon that was an original mold. And on the bio on the back of the box for the Voyager class toy of Revenge of the Fallen Bludgeon, they basically said that when he was still in this form, he had a battle with Whirl, and he got the chassis kicked out of him. So he wandered through the forest, and he came upon an abandoned Japanese tank, and he scanned it for his vehicle mode, and in the process, his robot mode took on the appearance of a samurai with a skull face. So a lot of Transformers fans have used the Revenge of the Fallen Bludgeon as the Generation style version of Bludgeon. This guy can basically represents Bludgeon as he stands besides the basically the War for Cybertron Siege versions of Optimus Prime and Megatron. Tilting the camera just to see what you guys have been saying to each other. The Collector 75, welcome here. So basically, to get these guys before we get to transformation, as far as articulation goes, half the joints on the deluxe class version of Movieverse Bludgeon are ball joints. He's got ball jointed hips, ball jointed ankles, ball jointed shoulders. Others, he's got double hinged elbows, hinge jointed knees. His swords, they are spring activated. There's a little button on them, and you push it, and it flips out forward instantly. So that's one thing that's no longer seen on Transformers toys these days. Revenge of the Fallen Bludgeon, he does have two swords, and he has sculpted holes in there. So like a real samurai, he can have his sword sitting besides him. He can technically have the swords in his hands, but the swords are made out of rubbery plastic and and as time's gone by, I've noticed that the rubbery plastic on Bludgeon's two swords, it gets warped if you take them in and out of his hands too often. The smaller sword, it hasn't warped as much as the big sword has, but still it's hard to fit in his hand because of how it's sculpted. For the Robots in Disguise Bludgeon, when I first got this guy, some people suggested to me that I keep him in the box, so I haven't taken him out yet. I want to try and get a second copy of this one so I can open it out of the box. But the thing is, the only website I can buy Transformers toys from is Amazon.com, and Amazon.com, what they decided to do for the Robots in Disguise 2001 toy of Bludgeon, they deleted the product detail page that he can be purchased from. So, unfortunately, there is virtually no way of buying this copy of Bludgeon again. And so, I'm debating as to whether or not if I'll finally release him from his cardboard and plastic prison and transform him into robot mode. Because I do have an original Generation 2 hero, Optimus Prime toy, that this toy mold, which was originally G2 Megatron, was designed to be an opposite of. So I'm really struggling on, even though I've had this toy for a few months now, if I should finally open him up, especially since his box is damaged up here in this corner. You can see right there, it's cracked open. See what some of you guys are saying in the live chat. So some people are pointing out that there have been upgrade kits made by third-party companies for both Revenge of the Fallen Bludgeon toys. I personally haven't had much interest in them. And if I had to name one of these toys of Bludgeon to own, the Revenge of the Fallen Voyager class Bludgeon is I feel the must-have toy of Bludgeon. The Power of the Primes version of Bludgeon comes in close as well. This one here, the Robots in Disguise version of Bludgeon, it is a straight-up repaint of G2 Megatron, so if you don't mind a toy of Bludgeon masquerading as Megatron, or if you don't mind a toy of Megatron that has Bludgeon's name slapped onto him, then this is the toy for you to have. So to get these guys transformed, armed, I'll try not to take too long. So as I said, the deluxe class version of Revenge of the Fallen Bludgeon, it is a straight-up repaint of the 2007 Movie 1 deluxe class toy of Wreckage. But even when you have the transformation memorized, there are some parts that can get a little finicky, especially when getting him from alt mode to robot mode. And as I said, this was sold exclusively in a 2-pack at Toys R Us back in 2009 with Whirl, who is a repaint and retool of the 2007 Movie 1 toy of Voyager class toy of Blackout. So there's the deluxe class toy of Bludgeon, all finished and transformed. And I forgot what type of military vehicle this is supposed to be, so if you could please let me know in the live stream chat before the video ends, or for those of you who are tuning in after the live chat stream, if you want to tell me this vehicle in the comments section, please do. It does roll pretty well. Now, even though this is a carpet surface, it still rolls well along the carpet surface. Although I will say this, even though I think this is supposed to be an off-road type military vehicle, because of the robot mode feet are almost directly in line with the bottom wheels, this toy is only going to be rolling over a flat surface, so it is a bit disappointing when you have a toy tank that can't actually go off-road and requires a flat surface to roll around, but that's just my opinion. Let's see what everyone else has been saying here. Okay, just checking to make sure, or if you guys are still in there or not. I apologize. Now, for the Power of the Primes version of Bludgeon, officially his alt mode, what you just do is you just take this 5mm peg, flip it 180 degrees, attach his handheld weapon to the front, and that's his official weapon mode. It's his robot mode with him lying down. But what I like to do with all of the Power of the Primes, Prime Master / Pretenders, I also like to lift up the robot mode arms and basically imagine that there's almost like an energy scope there in the middle, so you have a targeting range on there. Here, what do you guys think of that idea? So anyway, that's my alt mode for Power of the Primes Bludgeon. Thank you, Ninja Bill 1000. So I just to make the weapons of the Power of the Primes Prime Master / Pretenders not just be the robot mode lying down. Now when I fold up the robot mode arms on all of them and make it look like there's an invisible electric screen in there with targeting scope and information on there. And I've always imagined that if these were featured in the cartoon, that's one thing that they might do to make them more interesting. And since technically, even though they aren't sculpted exactly like it, since they're designed to be, I should have done this with the deluxe class version of Bludgeon as well, but Revenge of the Fallen Bludgeon, the way his hands are sculpted, if you have both Revenge of the Fallen Bludgeon and Power of the Primes, the Power of the Primes version of Bludgeon, there you are. Bludgeon can hold on to himself, and now he can become his own target master. So I really like that. And if you have both these toys of Bludgeon, the Revenge of the Fallen Bludgeon and the Power of the Primes Bludgeon, so just leave it here for a few more seconds. So if anyone is ever wondering what would Bludgeon look like if he was his own target master, well, there you are. Alright, so removing Power of the Primes Bludgeon. Power of the Primes Bludgeon. My tongue does work, but for some reason it fails me when I'm filming on camera. There is some neat storage space for both the Bludgeon swords, and this was the gimmick in the Revenge of the Fallen toy line. I can't remember what the term of it was. It's almost like a precursor to mech tech weapons in later toy lines, but that's typical. Bludgeon's large sword is now stuck in his holster. Okay, so as you can see right there, I don't know if you can see right there, but if you see how Bludgeon's sword is bending right there, it's actually not supposed to be shaped like that, so that's actually warped plastic. But what I like most is that both of Bludgeon's swords can be stored inside the turret of the tank mode, and the larger sword actually forms the front of the tank barrel. So if anyone out there finds Revenge of the Fallen Bludgeon and you're Bludgeon, and his large sword has gone missing. If you're wondering why does his tank mode look like it has a... Why does it have a short barrel, and why does it look like something's supposed to go in there? Because technically, his sword is supposed to go in there. Now, out of all the toys of Bludgeon, Revenge of the Fallen Bludgeon, it is one of the most difficult, and that's one thing a lot of Transformers fans have been saying about the Revenge of the Fallen toy line, is that quite a few of the Transformers toys that were released in the Revenge of the Fallen line in 2009 and 2010, that it has some of the Transformers toys that have some of the most difficult transformations ever created. Some people have said that the 2009 Revenge of the Fallen Leader Class toy of Optimus Prime, it holds the title of being the most difficult Optimus Prime toy to ever transform, ever, even more difficult than the Masterpiece and the Studio Series and Dark of the Moon versions of Optimus Prime. And I don't know how true that is, but I do know I timed myself one day. It took me 22 minutes to transform Revenge of the Fallen Optimus Prime from his alt mode of a semi-truck to his robot mode. Just making sure everything is lined up correctly. Okay. This is the most difficult part of Art of Bludgeon's transformation, is you have to fold his pelvis 180 degrees, yet at the same time you have to rotate his legs at the thigh joint and then bring his leg armor, and you have to basically move his legs in 3 directions at the same time to get him to transform correctly. Fold his arms up together. You can see there's the front of the tank. And like I said a second ago, getting Bludgeon's legs to line up properly is the most difficult part of transforming him. It is doable, but it is a bit of a pain. Make sure everything's lined up correctly. And lastly, you want to take his samurai skirt, plug it into place, and then plug these top bits of the rubber sections of the tank treads in. Make sure everything's lined up properly. And finally, there is Revenge of the Fallen Voyager Class Bludgeon transformed into his tank mode. So in keeping in theme with the fact that his robot mode is a samurai, this is a Japanese model of tank. I can't remember the exact model, but that does tie into the fact that Bludgeon is basically a samurai that's been turned into a Decepticon transformer. It's got 2 Decepticon logos on the tank armor, one there and one there. So it was because of the difficulty of Transformers toys released in 2009 in Revenge of the Fallen line, that's the reason why today Transformers toys have been given more simplistic transformations, because the ones that were given intricate transformations for the live-action movies, they proved to be too intricate for most Transformers fans. Lifting the camera up a bit, I want to see what you guys have been saying in the live stream chat. NinjaBo1000, he said goodnight. Alrighty. Let's see. The Collector 75, he says, Mixmaster was a nightmare. Yes, I agree. You want to know something, the Collector 75 and everyone else? To this day, I have never successfully transformed Revenge of the Fallen Mixmaster between all 3 of his modes. His alt mode, his robot mode, and his third mode of a cannon, which he did actually transform into in the Revenge of the Fallen movie, so that is a mode that did appear on screen. He used it to fire at Jetfire before Jetfire pummeled him. But yes, even more so than Revenge of the Fallen Optimus Prime, the Transformers toy that for me personally was the most difficult to transform was Revenge of the Fallen Mixmaster. So if there's a Transformers toy out there that I feel deserves the title of being most difficult Transformers toy to transform, it is Revenge of the Fallen Voyager class Mixmaster. After I transformed him into his robot mode one time, I transformed him into his alt mode of a cement truck, and ever since 2009, he has stayed in his cement mixing truck and has never been transformed again. So bringing focus back here on the character that we're looking at for this figure spotlight video, we have Bludgeon. So both Revenge of the Fallen toys of Bludgeon, they transform into tank vehicles, or at least the Voyager class toy does. I'm sorry, I forgot which type of vehicle Deluxe class Bludgeon turns into. The Robots in Disguise version of Bludgeon, even though he's in his box, he is a tank as well. And I don't know in the Transformers comic books if Bludgeon has been given a tank for his alt mode, or if he was in the more recent comic books by IDW, if he's been portrayed like the Generation 1 toy as being a pretender. And a lot of Transformers fans, and it's even said on Wikipedia, the Revenge of the Fallen Voyager class Bludgeon, a lot of Transformers fans, this toy doubles as the Transformers Generations version of Bludgeon, even though we now have a toy of Bludgeon that's been released in the Generations line. Most Transformers fans say that the Revenge of the Fallen Voyager class toy is the quintessential toy of Bludgeon to have in your collection, and I agree. But going off what the Generation 1 toy transformed into, his appearance in the Transformers comic books, I personally feel that if you had to own one single toy of Bludgeon, then the Revenge of the Fallen Voyager class toy, despite its difficult and intricate transformation, is the must-have Bludgeon toy to have. Power of the Primes Bludgeon I also highly recommend, and because he manages to capture the look of the Generation 1 Pretender toy, and also his gun barrel is unique. It's not used on any of the other Power of the Primes Prime Master / Pretender Ender robots. So yeah, I think that's all said and done. And there is to say about Bludgeon. Take a look at what you guys have been saying in the live stream chat. And so thank you guys all for tuning in. And this has been the TFN Geek, and this has been the Transformers Figure Spotlight video on Decepticon Bludgeon. Thank you guys all for tuning in. In my opinion, Bludgeon is an incredible Transformers character in his own right. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you can, find any of these toys of Bludgeon, add them to your collection. If I had to narrow it down to just one, this one here, the Revenge of the Fallen Voyager class toy, is the must-have to get. So thank you guys all for tuning in, and have a great day. Transform and roll out.